welcome to the Woodbury Town Board meeting of June 1st, 2023. I'll ask everybody to please stand up for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. All right, so this evening, before we go into our first item, agenda item, which is public comment, I'd like to ask our engineer, Mr. Jason Pitagaro, to come up and give us his presentation.
Sure.
Take your time. We're going to wait a couple of minutes. We're waiting on our attorney, Joe McCabe, to arrive.
Yeah, he usually gets here right when breakfast gets here.
He is here. I didn't recognize him.
Wow. He's at dinner. I'll just throw this up here, Jason Pitagaro. Here, maybe, I think,
Hold it down. There you go.
there we go. Okay, I think I was here at a workshop maybe a few weeks ago, a month ago. It was a full meeting. And we talked about a couple things that were ongoing. I think some of the more pressing things were the stuff that we were working on at the pool. So we have finished a plan for the drainage. We went out and solicited for some prices. The goal was to keep it under the threshold that would require a more formal bid, which really adds to the cost because the contractor has to get a bond. It just does a lot to add to the cost, and it adds to the administrative cost of both the town's end and our end. So we solicited, I think I might have listed 5 companies on our solicitation log, but we actually, I don't know if Boyce was listed on there, but we did solicit from them as well. They're the ones that had done the pool work originally, I believe. We only got quotes from 2 back. One of them was quite a large company, McCary. They're also a WVE, and their prices reflect that the size of the company, and were a little higher than the next lower company, which was CAM, and that bid was at $34,000 and change. So conferred with Joe. I think it's in accordance with the procurement policy, and I've expressed to them the urgency that we need to have the work done. And I think that kind of plays into who was able to provide cost too. Elman, who we had asked, is a great guy, but only has maybe 1.5 crews. So to break away a crew to do this, probably not feasible if he has other work. Nanini, who is fairly large and right down the street in Cornwall, also was tied up with some work for U-Haul and some other places. So they weren't comfortable providing a quote and getting the work done in that time. So you know that TAM has enough guys that they can break away, but also provide a reasonable price. So we've gone over what we had intended to do with the Parks and Rec Department, and so I think it's our recommendation that the board move forward with that quote tonight. If there's any questions, we could discuss that too.
I don't think you have to do anything there within the procurement policy, so.
I just wanted you to present that tonight, so we can.
Yeah,
Does anybody on the board here right now have any questions for her? No?
Just really quickly, since I'm here and taking your time anyway, what's going on is there's a lot of water shedding off the pool. We put drains around the pool. There's a small trench drain that goes across here, and then these drains will all dump into the surge tank. There's a couple areas of concrete that had to be added for the stands, and so people could walk around the stands and not get water all over the place.
So I was there today working with the Buildings and Grounds, and we're going to try, like you said, as quickly as possible to get someone to respond. If not, I've already spoken with Joe, and we're going to have to put something temporary there, if not, because the water does pond.
Yeah, so the intention is to have these guys finished before the pool's even open.
Yeah, that means we're going to have to move immediately.
Yes. So
Okay.
Tom, the biggest issue too is that the mud and sediment coming back into the pool, correct?
Correct. Yes. What happened was the kids, anyone that's there wants to go off the 2 diving boards especially, the line was getting long, and they just fall off the concrete pad and hit their foot goes into it and then they jump in the water. So that was just to, protect the filters and everything, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's just a product of the activity at the pool and the activity there.
All
Okay.
right, thank you.
The other thing that we wanted to get down here at the pool, I'll just flip this over real quick. Was some, oh, I'm going too far. Was some work along the stream corridor and on the path that comes over. So this was some dead trees that, one, had damaged the fence that's already there and I think had been replaced fairly recently, and two, just posed a bit of a hazard, or maybe more than a bit of a hazard for those folks that are using the upper parking lot and then walking over. So we had prepared this plan, but what we found is that to complete all of this work at one time, it's probably going to be, the estimate that we got more recently was about $50,000, but I think there's been some other estimates as high as $60,000. So that would need a more formal procurement policy. What we did receive is a cost of $6,000 to take care of all the immediate work, and that will be again done before the pool opens. And what I would recommend also that the board consider doing tonight is authorizing that to go forward under the procurement policy as it is, or an emergency services policy. And that's really is a safety issue. There's trees that are dead and are already down that need to be removed. And again, I think the cost that we've received is $6,000. I may suggest that the board authorize up to $10,000 in that work, in case there's some additional work that Joe thinks could be done in make better use of the time that the tree folks are out there. But I believe that's at the board's discretion.
Well, thank you, Jason. We're gonna look at that when the contractor shows up. First and foremost, the first time, in order to get the pool opened up, we wanna make sure everything that is safety related is addressed immediately. The fence, that has to be replaced also, so we have to clean that up. We were over there looking at that also, so it's under the procurement. We have it under a threshold.
2 written quotes between 5 and 10.
Okay, so we'll get a second quote. It's a different contractor than than TAM. It's an actual tree contractor that would be doing that work.
Correct. Got it.
Okay.
So we'll get 2 quotes then, right?
We've received one, we'll get another one, and I think that gentleman was able to start pretty immediately.
Okay.
So the way it works is when the department head follows a procurement policy, it doesn't need town board approval. If it exceeds the procurement policy limitations, then formal bidding is done, which does require town board approval. Well, they have to file prevailing wage as well.
Sure.
So you're gonna have to get
Yes.
Clara tonight.
I'm sorry. He knows, I talked to the guy today, he knows that, and just so the board understands, if you go by, you'll see there's some really trees that are kinda dangerous, and we're gonna be opening up in a couple of weeks, that's what he's gonna do, is take some of them dangerous trees out of the way, and then we can address it later to get a bigger scope of work done and, get everything done, so,
But you need a second quote for that.
yes.
Okay, so we will work on with the Parks Department to get that second quote and get that done as soon as possible. The last thing I think that we wanted to talk about was Berkeley Field and the equipment that was already purchased for out there. We were asked to do some layout work to make sure that the equipment stayed elevated and to protect the equipment since it was going to be brand new. So we have done a layout for that as well. I think that's pretty much complete in terms of layout. The question comes down to now what type of surface the board would like to use for the equipment there. And I think some of the choices are an applied surface that would be kind of poured in place. It's very expensive, and if it's damaged, it's not quite as easy to repair. There's also a tile type section can be put in place, that's more easily repaired and less expensive. And I think that is what our office would recommend. That's generally applied over a paved, like an asphalt surface, so it could be glued down. And it's cushioned, it's ADA acceptable, and I think that is what our recommendation would be for that surface there, so. I think that's something for the board to consider, and that's probably the final detail that needs to be decided upon.
Is there a way we could look at a sample?
Yeah, I think we can get a sample and bring that in to the Parks Department.
Great, thank you.
Just so we have it, since we did do it, this is that layout there. Makes use of the equipment that you guys had already purchased. The layout has requirements in terms of accessibility and the radiuses around it that are required, so I think this layout was developed by Game Time. It's been placed on the site. There's been some drainage added to provide for at the site, and the area here is elevated as well. And that was some grading that was done last time I was here. We talked about some photographs that Clara had provided that really showed the extent of the flooding that happened.
Are you increasing the layout size, the size of the?
No, we went off of what Game Time had provided, which actually, the way it works is that wherever the equipment is, the accessibility requirements require that you have about 60 inches clear around all of the equipment. So that is what we have prepared here. And then what we've done is made the slope a little less severe in this area, which is where you would enter up into the playground. And then you have full accessibility around all of the apparatus.
Okay.
So that is what would be considered typical for this adaptive type equipment and ADA accessibility.
And all that equipment, Joe, you have?
Yep.
And we have it.
So we'll get a sample of the surface so you guys can check that out, and we'll get you a final price on that too, in terms of purchasing the material, and then we'll let you guys make your decision.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason.
All right.
Now,
I-
go ahead.
I'm sorry, yeah, I have a question, just to go back before we go to another issue. On the portion of the tree work that you need done, which is gonna be $55,000 or more, do you need the board to authorize, because that would require a formal bid, do you need the board to authorize you to prepare bid specs on that tonight, or?
At this point, what I would recommend, yeah, is that we get a second price so we can get the emergency work done, and have that complete. I think I'd like to see how the contractor performs out there and what work he gets done in this time period. And then we can, if we need authorization after that, I mean,
It was already done at a previous meeting.
Okay, there's,
They've already authorized the bidding for the fence work at the pool.
okay, so everything else is prepared, so we could go ahead and do that. I just think the emergency stuff should be done sooner rather than later. So we can get a second quote so Joe can go ahead and award that. Okay, I'm not sure if there's anything else anybody wants to
There
say.
is, I have one other thing, so, did you wanna say anything, Joe, before I go?
The roof on the, up at the reservoir for the security room.
Yeah, so we can brief the board on that as well. Last time we were here, we talked about the roof and that it needs to be replaced. The concern was whether it contained any asbestos. So we contracted with Quest Environmental. They had performed sampling this past Wednesday, so that was done. And by next week, we should have some results so we can advise of whether there's any additional precautions that need to be taken, or we can just ditch it and have somebody come in. And at that point, once we know, we can see if it's most economical to piggyback on a county contract to have that work done.
It's fine. So I have one other item,
Sure.
I would like to ask you a question, but what I wanna do first is, include our attorney, Mr. Joe McKay. 2 weeks ago, when you gave your first presentation, which was like tonight, terrific, we appreciate it. Joe, was not here because, his daughter had graduated from Albany Law School. Congratulations again, I'd like to and rather than me ask the question or a couple of questions right now, I'd like to maybe direct it to our attorney. Do you have any questions that you could ask him regarding the bridge, the temporary bridge, the permanent bridge?
Jason and I spoke briefly about that this afternoon. My understanding is that the grant application is still pending. I don't know if you have an estimated timeframe on that.
Well, they were unfortunately supposed to have made the announcement already, but have not, which is not unexpected with New York State. So we would say that, we're hoping that it's announced sometime before the end of June. It was supposed to be announced, I think, the second week of April.
And that would still give the board the ability to complete the project before the schools open in the fall?
I don't know that that is gonna be the case. It may not be feasible to get into contract with the state before school opens in the fall. And what I would suggest is that if the grant is awarded, that it's more, it may be more advisable to accept the grant and use the temporary bridge for the next few months than to move more expeditiously, because any monies again expended before the grant is, you're in contract with the grant, we're not gonna be able to get reimbursed.
Would the grant have an expiration date though?
Well, the grant it'll certainly have enough time to complete the project, and if we needed an extension, I believe we would be able to get one without a problem. Especially since I think that in this case, by the time the grant is awarded, we would be ready to go. It's just gonna be the state is gonna take time to get into contract. It's not even, I mean, you see how long it takes for them to even make the notification. If for some reason we don't get the award, it is possible that we get started more quickly, because we have been working, we completed geotechnical analysis. You probably may have seen that we had a boring rig out there a couple of weeks ago. They did borings,
Yeah.
so those samples will be coming back in the next couple of weeks. There'll be a geotech analysis. The hydraulic study was already performed by the village, so we have most of the elements that need to go into completing the design, and we're working to complete that. So if for some reason in the next few weeks, we do not hear from the state, or we hear negatively from the state, in other words, we're not going to get the funding, we can accelerate and see if we can get the project done. We actually have a call this upcoming week with the contractor or the precast company that would likely prepare or construct the precast segments that are going to go into the bridge itself, so that we can get that design kind of worked out as well.
Okay. The way I see it though, we've had discussions about this before, once this project starts, from the day one when the project starts, to remove the temporary for the permanent bridge, it's gonna be, I can't see it being less than 4-month project.
Yeah, it's gonna go on. I mean, we're gonna be able to work a little bit underneath the temporary bridge while we're doing the footings and those things, but again, we're gonna have to pull the temp bridge and put the superstructure in, and that's gonna take, it's gonna take all of a month to do that with the best coordination, I think.
Okay. That'll be
It's
it.
not, I just, it's not a small project in terms of, the scope of what needs to be done out there. You've seen the bridge in the condition that it's in. There's very high erosive velocities there. There's a very large drainage area that leads to it, so it's pretty significant in terms of the project and its impacts as well.
Well, that is first and foremost, right, that the permanent structure goes in, it's gonna be there for at least a century, right?
I would say it's got a 50-year design lifespan, and it'll probably last a lot longer than that.
So for us though now, for what we're living with, we still wanna be able to minimize the amount of time that a bridge goes down, because it's on its usage and its need for the school buses and for everyone else.
Sure,
Commuters.
it's just from being out there while they're doing the boring, we're aware of the traffic and redirecting the traffic even during that small time period that we were out there. It's significant, so.
All right, Jason, well, thanks for giving us all somewhat of an update on all these issues that we're working on. Does anybody have anything they wanna ask him before everything's pretty good?
No, I just love having him come down here and give us updates, it's great.
Okay, so, well, we'll get some of those materials for you guys.
Good.
Look to get that second quote, so go ahead with that. And, come back again and talk when we have a little more information on the asbestos and hopefully, about the state's decision as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Okay, so, we're gonna proceed with our regular order of business. The first item up, we got public comment on agenda items. Does anybody in the audience like to get up and speak to any, agenda items? Okay, then we'll move on to administrative business, acceptance of the minutes. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the receipt of the minutes of the meeting held on May 18th, 2023?
No second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Approval of the abstract. Desiree, could you please read abstract to this one?
Abstract 12 contains vouchers 230887 through 230991 and totals $356,973.08.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve the abstract as read?
Make the motion. Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Next is the approval of the budget modifications. Desiree, could you read the budget modifications?
Yes, there are two this evening. The first is for the police fund by increasing B 3120.432 expenditure of DEA forfeiture funds by $301, B 599 appropriated fund balance by $301, and the tax collector by increasing A 1330.443 tax bills by $37.30, and decreasing A 1330.411 miscellaneous by $37. Was it 30 cents or 50 cents? I'm sorry.
And
They're both 50?
One's 30 and one's 50.
One's 30 and one's 50, so I'm gonna say we not do that one, cause they should equal. And I will mention it to Eileen tomorrow, and we'll have to put it on for you at the next meeting. So I would suggest just doing the police fund one.
okay.
Yeah.
So let me just explain the modification for the police fund is to recognize the actual cost of hardware installation for the fob entry system. So we'll just do that one for tonight. So can I have a motion, a second to approve the modification for the police fund as read?
Make the motion.
Second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the next item is the acceptance of resignation for Ms. Coops. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the resignation of Ariel Coops from the position of part-time clerk in the Parks Department effective May 22nd, 2023?
Make that motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the next is an appointment of part-time clerk for the Parks Department. I need a motion and a second to approve the appointment of Miss Elizabeth Ingram to the position of part-time clerk in the Parks Department with a start date of May 30th, 2023, and UPSI grade 2 hourly rate of $19.80. Okay, I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Before we move on, Miss Ingram, please come on. Make sure, right? Just wanted you to come up so we can all just congratulate you and welcome you, and I'm glad that you're here.
Turn you red, you know?
Yeah?
I wasn't aware that I was going to
No.
come up here and speak, but thank you for the opportunity. Hopefully, I live up to the expectation. I have very big shoes to fill because Fran is awesome. And thank you again.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and we look forward to working with you. Good luck with Joe.
Joe's easy. You just do your work, and he's fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Good luck. All right, now we move on to old business. The first item, authorize myself, supervisor, to sign the renewal agreement for Strategy Security.
Make the motion.
Well, before I ask for a motion, I want to note that at a previous meeting, this invoice was approved to be paid prior to the agreement being approved. The reason for that was because I had questions that needed to be clarified before I would sign the agreement, but I didn't want the service coverage to lapse while waiting for answers, which would have cost the town more money since it would have been out of contract. So, can I have a motion now tonight and a second to authorize myself to sign the service agreement with Strategy Securities for the town-wide security system, May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024, at a cost of $26,057.51.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. New business, resolution authorizing myself to set the supervisor to sign CDBG, home ESG renewal agreement. I need a motion and a second to adopt a resolution provided by the county to renew and amend, or execute a new 3-year, cooperation agreement between the County of Orange and Town of Woodbury to participate in the Orange County Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnership Programs, and Energy Solutions Grant Program for the federal fiscal years of 2024, 2025, and 2026, and successive 3-year qualification periods. Pursuant to Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, as amended, the Cranston-Gonzalez National Affordable Housing Act of 1990, as amended, and Subtitle B of Title IX, 4, I'm sorry, of the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act of 1987, as amended. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is to authorize supervisor to sign the proposal security at animal shelter. I need a motion and a second to authorize myself to sign the proposal for strategy security for the installation of complete security system at the animal shelter for the cost of $23,552.55.
Second.
Okay. Discussion, I just want to say that there's been a tremendous amount of work that was just recently done at the animal shelter. If anybody gets a chance to go up there, it's really came out great. The shelter, I think it's very important now with what they're dealing with, the improvement that's been done up there, and the amount of animals that they're servicing, and it's just great that we have this they need this security system there. With that said, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to public comment. Does anyone from the public have any comments they would like to make at this time? Back row. Okay. We'll move on to board member comments. Mr. Joe Gianzero.
Jason said everything, so we're good. Unless you have any questions.
Yes, you here? Everyone's at home, so we'll only
Yeah, I
answer
understand.
two questions.
I was trying.
Well, let's have a day.
I was trying.
Just hold it down until the light turns on. There you go.
Alright, one question.
Do you have a full summer staff?
We have a full summer staff. The guys are working at the pool. Hopefully by tomorrow, the pool will be spotless. We still have to get some leaves out because we put the cover on a little late. But it should be pretty good for the weekend. And then we'll just keep it running until we open. Next Tuesday, we got the lifeguard class. I believe there's 10, 11 kids, I believe, got something like that, signed up, which is fantastic. Plus they'll just come and work for us when they're done. So that'll be a 4-day class over 2 weeks. The park everything is in great shape. If you guys look around and load everything, we just finished the staining and stuff for the senior center, behind the senior center garden. So that's Mrs. Bo will be there putting all our stuff in, so you'll see some stuff shooting out. Unfortunately, we're on a water restriction again, so I don't know how much water she can put there. I don't know the particulars of it. But I guess, can we do at night, Jeff, or just no water at all?
No water at all.
No
Full
water at all?
restriction.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so I guess the garden's not gonna work out unless it's rains.
You all were so happy, we had no snow all winter, and I kept saying,
That's it.
Not taking no snow for dead grass.
Yeah, that's, there you go.
So you're saying that you have a class for lifeguards, new lifeguards, about 10 or 11 applicants.
Yeah.
How are we looking for this right now as far as lifeguards?
We're getting there. I have a pretty good stack in there. The kids gotta come in, fill out their paperwork, and then we take it up to Laura and we'll get them to do. So little by little they're coming in. Today I think we had 5 or 6 today,
So,
Elizabeth? Yes, so every day, a few more come in, he goes upstairs, and, so there we go.
Thanks, Joe. See, you're already helpful. See, you said you, yeah. Get used to that.
We work together.
Chief, excuse me, do you have anything for us?
I've said everything prior to.
Yep.
Thank you.
Attorney McKay, welcome back.
Thank you.
You look great.
You look great too, Tom.
You guys got that taken care of.
No, I don't have any comments unless the board has any questions.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. Councilman Delory.
Alright, as always, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I'd like to start by reminding everyone that the Parks and Recreations Committee will be holding their 3rd annual First Responders Day at the Res on Saturday, June 10th. The day starts off with a 5K walk/run, however you want to go around the park. There is no entry fee, but donations are gladly accepted and will go towards the food pantry. Registration starts at 8 a.m. with the race starting at 9 a.m. The First Responders event is from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. and there will be food, live music, and lots of fun as Woodbury's police, fire, and ambulance battle at the beach for the trophy. I'd also like to thank Maria Hunter and her committee for a successful Memorial Day parade. It was a beautiful event on a beautiful day with a beautiful ceremony at the end, so congratulations. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Fleury.
I have nothing tonight, thank you for everybody coming out.
Okay. Councilwoman. Luciana.
Thank you. I also, like Brandon, would like to thank the parade committee for the Memorial Day parade and all the people that came out to be there and, remember what Memorial Day is all about. It was a beautiful day, a long, hot day, but, everybody participated and it was really nice to see our town come out, in honor of those who lost everything. And I also wanted to express my condolences to the Reynolds family, and let them know that we're thinking of them and praying and sending strength to them. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Cochran.
So June 27th is primary day. It is only for the position of village mayor on the Republican line, so if you're a Republican and live in the village of Woodbury, everybody is voting at the senior center. If you live in Harriman in Woodbury, you do not get to vote because you don't live in the village of Woodbury. So everybody is voting at the senior center, only the senior center, everybody is a Republican who wants to vote. If you're a Republican, you want to vote, the senior center, only the senior center, as opposed to all the other places that we keep moving everybody to.
But not the people from Harriman.
But not the people from Harriman that are in the village of Woodbury, that are in the town of Woodbury, because it's the Woodbury election. Because it's gonna get confusing, and everyone's gonna call, and I'm just trying my best here. If you wanna have a garage sale, we are so happy that you do, but remember you need a garage permit, because I'm getting phone calls from neighbors complaining about you, so please get your garage permit. And I'm so happy we're investing all this money at the animal shelter, so people can stop asking me if we're closing the animal shelter. I'm very happy that we're doing all that. So, I'm sure Sarah is excitedly happy. We had a baby shower for her yesterday. No, Tuesday. No, we weren't here Monday, it was Wednesday, yesterday. We had a baby shower for her yesterday here, so she's very happily expecting very soon, and we wish her the best of luck.
Any minutes. All right. Well, listen. I just wanna echo everything everyone just said. The only thing I'll add tonight is I just want to mention we've done it as a board, and I want to do it tonight. We seem to always do it, but tonight, especially after this past week, the police department, the fire department, and the ambulance, their response to whatever calls this town has and needs, whatever our needs are, emergencies come about, whatever it may be, the response and the commitment that they have, the sacrifices they make is just incredible. And every time they just, amaze every one of us that are witnesses of it. So We're lucky to have everyone there, and I just wanna leave tonight with that. We're very fortunate, so. And we have representatives here, we have, from the fire department, we have, Councilman Finnegan, we have the chief here. It's just, we don't have the ambulance tonight, but believe me, it's never, it goes without every day. We have residents in this community that stop and talk to each and every one of us, and just we're so blessed to have them. So thank you very much, and I want to wish everybody a nice summer weekend. Hopefully everybody will get some sun. I recommend it, and I'll take a motion in a second to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, good night. Thank you.